Last night, the Eagles finally were on the football field. It's been a long year, this long off season, and now the Eagles are back out there. And you know what? There are some things that caught my eye. Let's dive in.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, really time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Brandon here with Philly the podcast, and I just want to talk about some things that caught my eye last night. Now, I know we have all week until our next game, and we can digest this game, and maybe we'll even talk about some more stuff. So I just want to quickly talk about what caught my eye, and we're going to start off super easy. Quez Watkins. That dude, he has some burners now. The blocking, outstanding. If we could get that... If Quez can get that kind of blocking every game, he'll be out all the time. But I mean, not on that screenplay, but he broke it deep too. Like if Hurts, and that's the preseason, that's the practice, that's the repetitions, getting that timing right. Because if Hurts would have put the ball on the money, that would have been another touchdown for Watkins. So that showed potential. It showed that maybe last year, if he wasn't used properly or wasn't given a chance, I think it still benefited him. He got to sit back. He got practice.
Just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
Saw what the NFL was like. He was still getting trained by the same wide receivers coach that's there now with Aaron Moorhead. And, you know, sometimes that's what it takes. I know last year we wanted to see our young guys really dig in and get the experience because we were stinking it up anyways. But sometimes sitting back, watching, we saw him get that touchdown against the Cardinals last year. This year, I mean, right now, yesterday, he did it by himself. I mean, he did it without the spin move. He was able just to go last night and take off. And then we saw him almost get that deep bomb, and that would have been a touchdown in itself. Quez Watkins is really stepping up. I think he's trying to prove the doubters wrong. He even said in his press conference, like the cat's out of the bag. He's I don't want to say he's here, but he's showing that, okay, I have the speed, but now I want to prove that I can do other things. And that's what he was saying in this press conference. So I would love to see more than just screens and go routes for this kid. I want him to be involved in slant routes, intermediate things, so then we can really see him develop as a wide receiver and hopefully maybe be that top 3 wide receiver for us. If it's not that number 2 spot on the outside, move Rager to the slot. Needless to say, these are all situations that I think would benefit our team. We don't need to really worry about, but we drafted Rager in the first round. He should be quote unquote wide receiver number 2. We just need these guys to perform and play well. Now, one thing about Rager that he did catch a couple passes. I think they're all from Joe Flacco though. But he pulled the Greg Ward when it came to punt returns a couple times. He just let the ball bounce back, and listen, I get it. The football can go any which way. It could have hit the ground hard and went right back into the end zone for a touchback, whatnot. But this is preseason. Just go out there, catch the ball, fair catch it, get that repetition, practice catching the ball. What's the worst that happens? You fumble during preseason. Get that out the way now so you're not nervous when it comes to regular season. So that was kind of like my little pet peeve right there. I just don't want to see that happen in a real game, because if we're stuck on that 1 yard line, I feel like that happened a lot to us last year. We were stuck between that 10 to end zone area because Greg Ward or whoever was back there wasn't catching the ball and trying to play it's going to bounce into the end zone game. And most times it was not. So we definitely are not going to be able to win games if we're backed up all the way back there, and then we're punting back there, and then the other team gets the ball around the 50-yard line. This is not a fun game to see. So that's one thing I want to see hopefully cleaned up in the next 2 preseason games is the punt returners just catching the punts. Who cares if you're on the 15 or 20, just catch it. You don't need to run. Just get the repetitions in. One thing I did like was giving Jake Elliott the chance to kick the ball. He kicked the ball, I think 47, and 50 yards. And he hit them money. They weren't like any questionable. They were all money. And I think that's good. I think that's building his confidence. I think that's something that Doug didn't do last year. Doug, I think if this was last year, Doug would have went for it on fourth down, all three of those plays. He would be like, nope, we need let's see our fourth down. And Jake Elliott never got into that repetition. And I mean, we're paying the kid now, so he needs to be way better than he was last year. He can't be missing give me field goals and making these 47, 50-yard field goals and then missing the ones that are within 20 yards. So I like giving him the repetition. We don't need to go for it on fourth down all the time. Maybe if the game's on the line or something like that, we need to, then yeah, cool. Maybe next game in preseason, maybe you could do one to get some practice in on a fourth down. But I like getting Jake Elliott the repetitions to kick the ball with the fans everywhere, or if it's away game, get the noise. Get used to that because he did not look good last year, and we definitely need to see him do better this year. Some other things that kind of stuck out, and obviously, like I said at the beginning, that we're going to digest this game, and we'll probably end up talking about it some more and stuff like that as the week goes on before the next game. But our defense looks solid. Like our first two in the first and second quarter, we looked really good. Yeah, in the third and fourth, we ended up losing the game, unfortunately, but that's okay. That's the third and fourth strings. Those are guys that people are like, oh, we have no depth. I was seeing this on Facebook, that we have no depth. They're tired, yada, yada. Well, yeah, there wasn't much of a rotation, but who are you going to rotate in? Your starting two are probably gone. The starting two lineups on the depth chart are not playing anymore. And you're playing with those threes and fours that, I mean, if in a regular game, you're rotating all those guys, the starters, the backups, everyone's getting rotated. These guys at this point, they weren't going to get rotated out. It is what it is. They got to see, especially the young guys, got to get into that, all right, we need to get into better shape, or this is what the NFL is like this is what my conditioning needs to be like. So it was good for them to kind of get that experience. But before the starters were taken out, Javon Hargrave looked good. Josh Sweat was getting skinny, and yeah, he didn't get a sack, but he was literally right there. The quarterback held the ball even just a second longer. Josh Sweat would have been right there. And I like Milton Williams was getting after it. So there are these guys that they were doing well, and when the starters are in there and everyone's rotating, getting fresh, coming out, going in, it's gonna look good. I got the doubters of the doubters, obviously people being negative watching the game. Just gotta look at the bigger picture. The other guys weren't getting rotated in, and it is what it is. And then I saw some people say stuff like, oh, Joe Flacco, I think it was PFF on Twitter, Joe Flacco was trying to fight for that number one spot. It's like, bro, he's playing against backups. He's playing longer than Hurts did. And on top of that, his one big play was going to, I think he had like two good plays. He had obviously the screen pass that, I mean, if you throw it accurately, it's going to go well. He did well doing that. So that was pretty good there. That was a ball. Jackson came up, caught it. So that was a nice pass. But Joe Flacco ain't fighting for nothing. If anything, Nick Mullins just solidified his backup spot. Joe Flacco is that number 2 quarterback. But yeah, I mean, other than that, guys, I mean, we could talk about the linebackers. We could talk about the defensive backs. I mean, like I said, we can digest this and we can keep going at this as the week goes on. So we could prepare for that number 2 preseason game. Drop in the comments below what stood out to you guys. What should we try to talk about and focus on for the next game, before the next game? And what player really stood out to you guys? Was there anyone that you're like, oh, I was looking forward to seeing them? Was one of the running backs somebody that you guys liked? I know I didn't mention them, but there's other days to do that. Let us know down below. And if this is content you guys like, make sure you guys like and subscribe. But till next time, guys, fly, Eagles, fly. Peace.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Yeah. Fly, Eagles, fly. You on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog, or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, really time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.